Ugh. This is the only way I can post a video on YouTube. This is how I'm gonna have to do it. Um, I'll remind people that if you want to hear the whole thing, I doubt you will, but you have to watch it all the way from the beginning. Um, yeah, it's completely unscripted. It's just my opinion so far. And I just beat the game, so I mean, I got the full single player experience, and it's awful. Every single mission ends in some sort of ridiculous, overpowered boss fight. It's trying to be Dark Souls, but it's not. I mean, it's Armored Core. I thought it was, but no, it's From Software, and they hate us. They hate anyone who buys or plays their game, so they have to make sure that you die a lot trying to succeed. To kind of prove this fact, I mean, the game's only been out for 2 days, but by beating the game on PlayStation 4, I am now in the top 2% of players as far as like story progress goes. So that just goes to tell you just how it's not really how long it takes. It's not like a long campaign. If it wasn't for all the dying and resetting, then you'd probably beat the game in 3 to 5 hours, give or take. But since like one particular boss early on took me like 5 hours to beat him, guess what? Adds a lot of time. And I'm not alone on this. A lot of people are very quietly complaining, or their opinions are being brushed under the rug. A lot of people are complaining that the game's just too hard. It's too stupid. It's too stupidly hard. And again, it comes out of the boss fights just being ridiculous. These enormous, giant damage sponges that won't take any damage, that can kill you in like 3 hits, have multiple stages, have reinforcements a lot of times that come in, and you have to then go through a mission before you get to the boss. So that's a problem. If they want to try and fix it, they need to reduce all the boss's HPs by like 50%, straight across the board. It's all of them need half as much health. They have way too much. It's ridiculous. It's unnecessary. Especially a lot of the ones that wind up getting a shield back that you have to then break through the shield before you can deal damage to them at all. Those ones definitely don't need as much health. Like, make up your mind. So you're going to give them a shield to supplement their health, and hence then give them less health. Or, no, it's From Software. We're just going to make it so they have all the health in the entire world and kill you instantly. And it wouldn't be so bad if it was like 3 or 4 bosses like this throughout the whole game, but it's not. It's almost the end of every single mission. There's some ridiculous thing you have to blow up. There are so few missions where there's just like another Armor Core you have to fight, or you're done. You killed a bunch of MTs. You're done. You mission accomplished. Here's your money. There's so few of them. There's like 1 or 2 chapters. I think it's chapter 5 and chapter 6, or chapter 4 and chapter 5. I can't remember which, but that was pretty much like that. It was just like really relatively straightforward missions. You fight like an Armored Core at the end of it, and you're done. And those were actually fun chapters. So you not like you sailed through them. You still had to be good and get through without dying, but it felt like a genuinely fair experience that was actually fun and enjoyable. It's almost like they realized their mistake. So then the final chapter, they made sure that like it's filled with instant death traps and other ways of causing you to lose. The cores themselves aren't bad. They feel pretty good to pilot. I think the control scheme is the base control. The default control scheme is terrible. I don't know what they were thinking by spreading so many buttons out that don't need to be spread out. I wound up changing all my controls around. So I have jump / ascend on L2. I have quick boost on R2, and then I have my left and right guns on the bumpers, or L1, R1, and then I have my shoulder weapons on square and X. I don't really use circle unless the game makes me do it, or unless I want to reload my rifle. I never use assault boosting. I don't think I've ever once I've done it as a joke, be like, well, let's try it. It's like, this is stupid. I don't like it's not fancy at all. I don't really bother to lock on too often. Some of the later bosses, because they literally teleport behind you. And I do mean literally. You need the lock on to keep track of them, because it's humanly impossible to manually track them. Um, you don't have enough boost. I find myself like constantly struggling to have adequate boost to keep quick boosting, especially if you're fighting multiple things all at the same time. They're trying to stun lock you and kill you instantly. You just wind up like boosting 4 or 5 times and then you're out. You just guess what? You have to just wait around until your boost recharges. So if you want to fix the game, you need a lot more boost, or you need boost to. I would prefer boost to constantly regenerate, because the biggest issue is that after you quick boost, or fly, or do pretty much anything, your boost bar does not recharge. You have to either descend or be on the ground, just normally sort of skating around, and then after like a second, your boost will recharge. It should always be recharging, so you just have a constant supply of boost. Like where's the electricity going? Is your generator just stupid? Like you used up all your boost and you're just like, hey, and you're like, hey, generator, what the fuck? And it's like, oh yeah, you probably want electricity. Here you go, because that's how electricity works. You have to ask for it. What else? The guns have this massive delay between actually pulling the trigger and shooting them. I'll see if I can actually get to the AC test somehow. Let me show you what I mean with this. Like almost all the weapons, again, have this massive delay from when you pull the trigger to when the projectiles actually come out. There are exceptions, like the rifle, missiles. Sip of beer. So here's the rifle, and hopefully I'm gonna pull this up to my microphone. You can hear when I hit the trigger and when the gun actually starts firing. See? Wait for it to reset, and boop. Not too bad, but there is a little bit of a delay. I prefer it to come out instantly. Like, why isn't the guy holding his guns up in the ready position? Like, ready, aim, fire. Why I have to tell him? You're like, oh yeah, you probably want to shoot the gun. Now watch the shotgun. You'll see. Hopefully, you can make it be heard. Hear that? Wait for it to reload, and shoot. I can finish saying shoot before the bullets come out. You think that's bad? Now look at the dual grenade launcher and shoot. Like that is like almost a full second of delay right there. And not only that, you're stunned after you shoot it. So by the time you have a good shot, you're like, oh okay, cool. I got a good shot. Oh, I missed it. The opportunity was half a second ago. Darn. So missiles come out instantly and shoot. I had to turn. Let's wait for it to recharge and see how much of a delay there is. And shoot. Okay, there's a little bit of a delay, but again, not so bad. But still, it's ridiculous. The bolt should come out the moment I hit the button. And again, this feels like something that the Dark Souls guys were like, no, you can't attack the moment you hit the attack button. There has to be some lengthy wind up, because Dark Souls, that's how it works. You hit the button, and then 15 seconds later, an attack is executed. What else do I hate about this game? You don't have enough money in the early game to buy parts. Your part selection is extremely limited. I mean, obviously, it's early in the game. Sure. Probably one of my biggest complaints is that you might notice this whole nest thing right here. It says enter the Nest Online Battle Simulator. Right now it is not accessible, because apparently if you suspend the application for any reason, it automatically switches to offline mode, and I haven't figured out how to change that yet. So it won't let me, and I'm not sure how to turn it back on. It should automatically be on. Like, here we go. Like online. Come on, work. Oh, I can check the user license agreement. That's important. I mean, all I gotta do is leave and come back, and it signs you back in. But whatever. I've searched twice today for multiplayer games. There were none on the East Coast. Literally, not a single game of any type on the whole East Coast. There's a reason for that. You see, in order to unlock multiplayer, you have to beat Chapter 3 or 4. I can't remember which one. I think it's 4. Because I'm pretty sure it's like Chapter 2, you unlock the arena. Chapter 3, you unlock tuning. And then Chapter 4, you unlock Nest. So nobody can even play the game online until they beat Chapter 4. or 3. Somebody can correct me. It's fine. And again, and right now, I mean, according to achievements, just give me a second to. According to it, I'm trying to think of how many. I took a picture. Just give me 1 second. Bunch of people I need to kick in the balls. Destroy the worm. So basically, less than 25% of the Armored Core 6 community can actually play multiplayer online. Not that you would, because there's so much broken ass shit. This game just sucks. I'm so disappointed. It looks good. I love the weapon design. I love the. So if I'm going to talk positive for a second, it looks good. I don't think there's enough variety in weapons. There's a lot of redundancies, and basically just some things are just better than others by a long shot. So, anyway, before I go on to what I might actually like about the game, before I actually play some of it, let me just go over what I think needs to be changed. All the big bosses, their health needs to be reduced. Their health and their defense needs to be reduced. They take too much damage. They have too much damage resistance. It's ridiculous and it's unnecessary. If you really wanted to, they should have just added difficulty levels. Right now, just cut the goddamn, just make them easier so people can play the game. People can get to the end of the game. They can unlock parts and make designs, then go online and play against each other. Why is all the stuff being roadblocked so hard? It boggles my mind. They need to increase how much thrust you have or boost you have, so you can boost more. They need to make it so that you're constantly regenerating boost as well, so then you can be more active. You can do more quick boosting. Maybe even make perma flyers. Instead of having hover legs, just make it so that you can actually make a design that's efficient enough and you're good at controlling it to the point where you can actually permanently fly around. That would be kind of cool. Because right now I just feel like really, I quick boost four or five times and nope, I gotta be on the ground and recharge. That feels pretty lame. So it's just, I don't think the computer has the same limitation. I'm pretty sure, by the looks of things, that the computer has unlimited boost, or it has as much as it needs anyways. The online multiplayer should just be unlocked. You should just it should not be behind a chapter barrier. It should just be here. You should be able to open the game and immediately go online and play if you want to. And not only that, when you go to play online, all the weapons and equipment should be unlocked. All weapons, equipment, a whole 9 yards, everything should be unlocked. So if you want to go play online, you can make any design you want without having to worry about your story progress, how much money you have, what stuff you already bought. You can just have fun and just enjoy the content that's in the game. That being said, they're going to have to ban or nerf a bunch of things, because I can already tell you that there are some missile systems that are going to be a huge problem. Because guess what? There are no flares. Probably a big problem here. And a lot of other games, you had some sort of shoulder-based auxiliary item. You don't have one in this game. Like, see those shoulders that are empty? It looks like there's something should be attached there, doesn't it? It looks like there should be like something that hooks onto that bolt that's in the shoulder. But no, it's no. So again, there's no flares, there's no anti-missile systems. So yeah. And the missiles in this game are pretty ridiculous. Some of them are pretty easy to dodge, but then some of them will track you to the ends of the earth. They will do 450 degrees of turning, track you anywhere you go before they finally give up. It's pretty absurd. Excessive, even. Oh, God, I have a laundry list of shit that'll probably come up. I mean, the missions themselves, a lot of my strategies for the missions are get up to the boss, get killed by the boss, so then I can change my design for something that's meant to kill bosses. Because up to this point, I mean, you have to deal with a bunch of chaff. And to deal with chaff, you need some chaff-killing kind of weapons. When you get the bosses, you need things that impact the crap out of them so you can stun them. Because people only take significant damage when they are stunned. So you have to have enough impact to force them to be stunned, so then you can wail on them and actually do significant damage. So you wind up needing 2 designs for almost every single mission. There are very few ways I've been able to just use for dealing with chaff and bigger things. The big shotgun is just really, really good. It is very, very good. We have this giant grenade launcher thing, which isn't great, but it has a lot of impact. It has a good splash damage zone, so again, it's good for taking out mobs. I trade it out most of the time against bosses. If it's a fast boss, then the weapon's useless. If it's a fast AC, it's also pretty useless. So when I get to the boss and I got to the checkpoint and then I die, I'll then switch this out for more missiles because they work better. This right here is the plasma missile launcher. The VVC. We're going to call it Vic for short. So this is the Vic. The Vic is OP as hell. What makes it so good is that it just tracks forever. It tracks all the forever. It almost never misses. It does really good damage and very good impact. It's really expensive. So in the early game, this thing costs about $200,000, which will be sorry, got a message. My internet quality is bad. It is. My internet's pretty bad. So, well, we'll see what happens. It says I'm still on the air, so I'll continue. So yeah, the Vic right here is OP as hell. Again, it always hits. It does really good impact, really good damage. Don't let its numbers fool you. I don't know why it's this damage displayed like this, because it's like, oh, it only has 384 impact. It has 384 impact for every single missile it fires. So it fires 5 missiles. So that's actually like 1,600 plus impact. And then it leaves an AoE that also does impact damage as well, on top of regular damage. But mostly, it hits a lot. That's the most important thing. Like I said, this thing, I mean, it's worked for me, and it's been very handy to have around. The one disadvantage with the Vic is that it takes a long time for its missiles to arrive on target. So for dealing with chaff, it just isn't worth using. This, on the other hand, even with its delay, this delay from pulling the trigger to actually shooting, at least the projectiles get there quickly and pretty much kill any piece of chaff it touches. Again, it does a lot of impact damage to a lot. It has pretty good projectile velocity. It's not terribly inaccurate. So it gives you this, or it's one of your starting ones. It's just terrible. But guess what? This is what they start you with. This is what you get early on. Thanks, game. You're so nice. Eventually, I'm going to go through and do some more. But right now, I want balance. I want the bars as filled as possible, to a degree. Cores. It seems like the only thing that matters with cores, honestly, again, all the defensive stuff. Booster efficiency adjustment, generator output adjustment, generator supply adjustment. So basically your cores augment your generator in this game, which I'm not opposed to. I don't think it's necessary, but... And I switched over to this just because its defensive stats were ridiculous. And it helped a lot. Just being able to tank hits, not get stunned so often. It was very... It worked out a lot. I was using this for most of the game because it just sort of... It does a good job just boosting the generator. And I'll probably switch back to it. Just because, again, it does make some difference. It doesn't make enough of a difference, to be honest. Like, it's not like, oh, I get like 10 quick bursts when I'm using this guy, and I only get like 4 with this guy. It's like, no, I get 4 either way. Maybe 4.5 with this one. And the other ones I just bought for shits and giggles, or the game just gave to me. So, I'm going to switch back to this for now. Arms, again, I don't really think they make much of a difference. It might, for min-maxing reasons. I had to use lighter arms because of my energy load was getting a little too high for some of the builds I was using. And again, I feel like the best thing to do would just be fill the bars up as much as possible. So I probably should use this because it just, again, it just has more numbers, period. All right, I'm not going to touch anything. I've been really loving the spring chicken. I've been really loving it. It has a really good load capacity, so you can really load up. Being able to just jump really high without having to you constantly use your thrusters to do it makes you much more energy efficient. It also has a tendency of like giving a very quick forward boost. Like it's like you hop forward with your quick boost, which also takes a little getting used to, but it makes you really fast, really nimble, and relatively energy efficient. Booster, I've been using this booster the whole game because it has the best numbers. It's not particularly specialized, but it just does everything well. So yeah, you can use the boost G2. There you go. It just is better. Like, by a long shot, it's been getting it done. I suppose I could use this because it's more efficient with its quick boost thrust, but then you lose out on everything else. Like your basic thrust, you get less thrust in every direction. It's a little more efficient, but you get very little boost. It's very efficient, but it's not good. Fire control, I switched to this one. Again, I don't really think they make much of a difference. I was using this one here, the G2 for most of the game, and when I switched to this one, I didn't notice really any change at all whatsoever. Generator, I got stuck using the Ming Tang for the entire game because everything else, it does have balanced stats, but like everything else, the energy load capacity is generally, and it generally just is awful. It's like if I apparently I could switch to this. I just bought this one. I was gonna try this one because it's got way more capacity and slightly less everywhere else. So we're gonna go with that and see what happens. And yeah, I've been using Pulse Armor honestly because it automatically gets rid of all your stagger. So you wait until your stagger meter is almost full, then you pop this to completely mitigate all staggering. It's already been 20 minutes, really? I've been yakking for 20 minutes, jeez. For tuning, I mean, nothing fancy. I put everything I had into damage mitigation just to survive through these stupid levels. And after that, boost my direct hit modifier because it boosts the damage of everything. If it hits directly, it gets 15% more damage. Cool. Obviously, I've been using lots of explosives and kinetic weapons, so I maxed those out. Okay, I took one thing of Pulse Armor just to have it, and Quick Turn. I have 1 point left. I'm probably going to take Weapon Bay. Oh, I can't take Weapon Bay. That costs 2, because that's totally, it's totally worth 2 points. Yeah, I don't know. I'll just have 1 point forever. It's fine. I beat CMS rank. I beat all these guys. They were all really, honestly, super easy. I mean, a couple of them were kind of like, I think King was kind of an asshole. This guy for like the #1 guy, he was pretty easy. Who was the hardest though? I would say, where is she? Here she is, Cinder, because she has the most broken missile system in the game. She fires about 80 million missiles that don't miss you and cause massive staggering and kill you. So she's probably one of the hardest characters in the whole game. I think you have to beat her in the campaign to get her missile system. And once you have that, yeah, pretty sure you'll never lose again. Who else was actually hard? I think there were some early guys that were surprisingly difficult. Like maybe this guy. But there's some guy that had the pulse missiles, the Vix. And yeah, it turns out he was really hard to beat because the Vix never miss. And they stagger the crap out of you. Ugh. So, yeah, I don't think I should much about that. So, let's just... Alright, so let's go over my... So, I guess the best guy. Hopefully I'll put on a good show. I mean, he can get you. Again, the sudden instant death factor of this game is extreme, to say the least. You could be at full health, and then a moment later, you're instantly killed. Oh, he's got the drones. Look at that. So, again, I changed my control scheme so that L2 is jump/ascend, R2 is quick boost. And what this does is it frees up my thumb, and then frees up my thumb to do mostly all the looking around. I don't have to lock on, I could just manually track them like I would in a third-person shooter. And we see the delay on the grenade launcher is so extreme that there's plenty of time for him to get out of my way, like... Oh, I got that too, buddy. Good pick. Oh, almost got him there. And we see that with the jumpy legs, I can hit the ground and immediately jump up, so I'm sort of pseudo-airborne. Ooh, got me there pretty good. Oh no! Oh, those should have hit, come on. Let's see, I'm just trying to keep pressure on him. We see, again, the grenade launcher just struggles to hit its mark. Even if they're basically stationary, the gun's still just like, eh. The best thing to do, obviously, is get in the air, get above them, and let the splash damage hit them. But we see those missiles tracked him forever. I shot them such a long time ago, and they just now made contact. Oh, and he's dead. Look what killed him. The missiles. I still had almost half my health remaining. Like, this is supposed to be the top ranked, S-ranked guy. Like, oh look. You did it! You're number one! Let me just show you just how out of control missiles are when you don't have any way of countering them. Obviously, when I saw them, I had to have them. Was it this? Yep. The most amount of vertical fire missiles, and just because, well, we'll see. I think this might put me over. Nope, just right. So yeah, we'll place that like. So this is what once I had access to, which wasn't until almost the end of the game. This is what I used to beat bosses and other decks. Why, you might ask? I don't know. Let's see. Let's just see how effective it is. Now, a lot of it does come down to nailing them with the shotgun. If you miss a lot with it, you miss a lot of staggering potential. But yeah, well, let's see what happens. I mean, I'm a little. So let's start off with a quick boost right at him. You see it kind of skips. And actually kind of surprising. A lot of... Oh, he's angry. He's angry. He's mad about last time. See, these missiles aren't hitting as often, which I'm kind of surprised about, because I just used them to beat the last boss, and they wrecked him. And I lost track of him again. You see, I'm out of boost, and I gotta wait. Wow, this generator really actually struggles to give me enough power. Oh, I shot those missiles too early. Oh, he's actually kicking my ass. He's mad. He's upset. Again, you also have to remember that if the computer wants to hit you, it is going to hit you. If it wants to dodge you, it's going to dodge you. It doesn't react the same way as a person does. Well, looks like I'm going to get wrecked. Oh, ate my own words. Wow, you're so cool. Now, here's the thing. Can it do that? Can it do that twice in a row? I'm curious. I'm going to bet it can't. Because a big part of From Software games is that there's a lot of cheating going around in the background. Oh. Like, you ever wonder about wonky hitboxes in a From Software game? They're not wonky. The game's cheating. The game is programmed to... I fired missiles too soon. You're dead. Can't help but notice that you're supposed to be dead. You had 0 health. Look at that. Huh. Even faster than when you beat me. Well, I suppose it's only fair to give him best 2 out of 3, you know? See, I feel like my best was like my control scheme allows easier freedom of movement without having to keep taking your finger off the right stick just so you could use boost. Like, now you don't have to. Your hand just stays pretty much in one position. Unless you want to use your special weapons. Was how I look at my shoulders. The shoulder weapons are special weapons to me, so they're square and triangle. So, you see how pretty much all those missiles didn't count as hitting for some reason? You see the big shotguns, man. They kick all the. I just got hit by a fucking grenade. It didn't even hurt me because I wasn't staggered, which is so silly. It's a grenade. It's gonna hurt you no matter what. Look, wasn't staggered, so guess what? Barely hurt. Oh, game's cheating. It's teleporting. It's denying me. It's denying me energy. I've been on the ground for a while, still didn't get my energy back. There you go. Oh no, did you die? Oh, sucks, bro. So, best 2 out of 3, I win. So, I'm going to try to find some multiplayer games, but again, I guess my final thoughts is I've been apparently ranting for a half hour. I really don't even know how that's actually possible, since I started this rant at 6 o'clock and it's only 6:27, but, anyways, I guess final thoughts, I do not at all recommend anybody buy or purchase this game. Anyone who says the game is amazing is an ignorant person. They probably haven't even really. They probably haven't beaten Chapter 3 yet. They might have beaten Chapter 2. Maybe. I doubt it. There's a lot of hate for this game right now. It's just being buried. Nobody's talking about it. It's not allowed to be seen by anyone. The game sucks. Don't buy it. Even if it gets patched and fixed and an add-on comes out, still don't buy it. It's such a disappointment. There's a lot of things that are good. Like, once I changed the controls to be more streamlined and make more sense for the kind of combat where the game is for, it became a lot of fun. It feels good to play the game. It just sucks that everything you use the controls for sucks. Again, your armor core runs out of energy way too fast. There's such a massive delay between pulling the trigger and and bullets coming out. All the enemies are way too cranked. Like, everyone talk about armor cores. There's some MT pub be like, oh my god, it's an armor core, run! I'm like, dude, I have fought like 24 things that are 1,000 times better than any armor core. They have killed me 12 to 15 times a piece. Like, why are you afraid of this thing? Like, be afraid of that other thing that's is just by default better than anything I can make times 1,000. But the only reason you're allowed to beat, the only reason why you beat it is because you're allowed to. If they use a slightly different move set, then you would never be able to beat them. Like, this one boss, if it just did this one particular kind of attack and nothing else, you'd be so screwed. You would never be able to win. Unfortunately, it does other attacks. I'm hoping I'll find some PvP with some guys who are like kind of like honorable fighters that aren't going to spam all the cheesiest goddamn shit in the game, and maybe I'll find some friends that way, and maybe get some good PvP matches on. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. But I feel like it's just going to be a lot of missile spamming, because there really isn't much you could do about it. Anyways, I'm going to make a bunch of designs for fun, and that's about it. If anyone listened, I hope this... you know what? Fuck you, no one's going to listen to this anyways. Just don't buy the goddamn game.